Hi guys, welcome to Coding with DD&D. My name is Zaki Opesika. Now today we're going to learn computer programming and we're going to use Scratch. Now Scratch is a graphical computer programming language, easier to use and designed for children and beginners. With Scratch you can create your own stories, music, games and animations. It's absolutely beautiful. With Scratch you can program with blocks just like Legos. We will do so by dragging and dropping blocks to connect like puzzles, like the puzzle pieces. And you will need an editor to program Scratch. There are two types of Scratch editors. Online, you always need internet connection, and offline, you don't need internet because it is installed on your computer, like you downloaded it. By using the offline editor, which we have already installed on the computer, we will learn how to install future videos. This is how the editor looks like. Let's start the programming now. We're going to try different scripts. First, we're going to try to say a word hello, and we're going to try to move 10 steps. But before we start, what is a sprite? A sprite is an object that performs actions in Scratch. They are in the sprite pane. This sprite is a cat. But you can find lots more sprites in the sprite library, where if you go to the sprite library, you will see search and you can see all, animal, people, fantasy, dance, music, sprites, food, faction, letters, everything. All means all the animals, people, you know what I mean. You can also create your own sprite, like paint your own sprite, like a circle and something like that. Let's drag and drop the block to the code stage. In our first script, we will get our sprite to say hello world. We will use the same block in the looks palette. And the looks palette is in the code tab on the left side of the screen. There are three tabs in Scratch. You have a code tab where you see your motion, your events, your controls, and your looks, your events, your variables, and your costume tab is where you choose a sprite. A sprite might have a costume or they don't have a costume. So if you go to the costume for the sprite, you can paint your sprite or color the sprite any color. And the sound tab is where you choose your sounds, like an animal sound, the fantasy sound, music, food, and people laughing, whatever. Now we will add the motion block. Motion blocks are blue in color. The move block can be found in the motion palette and change the number of steps to 5. This right will move 5 steps when I click on this script. We can change the number of steps to any number. Let's try 300 steps. Now let's change back to 5. Now let's add an event block. Event blocks are yellow and they're used to control how we get the sprite to execute. This block will run the sprite when the green flag is clicked, and there are other event blocks like when green flag is clicked, when space key is pressed, and when you go to when the space key is pressed, you can see an arrow there. You can see left, right, up, down, and A, B, C, D up to Z. And when the sprite is clicked, that means when you click on the sprite in the sprite bar, the sprite will do whatever code you have for it. And when I receive message, etc. Let's make it more fun by adding another move block, and another, and another, and another. We can also duplicate it to make it easy for us not just go and come again, go and come again. You have to left click your mouse button so you can able to see duplicate and this one like that. Just right click on the block and click duplicate. It's left click. Now we have the move block to repeat for 8 times. And now we can try it out. Again, our sprite causes our sprite to move so fast we can't see the 8 different movements. So let's add a control block to cause the sprite to wait 1 second between the steps. The wait block in the control pallets. The control blocks are orange in color. Too slow. Let's set the wait to a fraction of a second. 0.1. Looks better now, and we can also duplicate it just like how we did it to the motion. But this is not efficient because we want to make a change. We have to do that 8 times. For example, if we want to change the number of steps or the way of time, we have to do that 8 times. We can add another control block to repeat 8 times, and now we have an easier code. You can see how it sticks like a magnet. These two codes do the same thing, but one is simpler and cleaner than the other. We can let this continue without stopping by adding another control block called the forever loop. Let's try dragging the sprite back and see what happens. Because of the forever loop block, this script will continue running until you click the stop button. That's the red button next to the green flag. Remember, red means stop and green means go. Finally, before we close for today, let's try animating the sprite to make it look more realistic, like a regular human being walk. We will use the next costume block under the looks palette. Looks blocks are purple in color, my favorite color. There are 2 different types of costume of this cat sprite. One with a stretched knee like this one, and the other with a bent knee. The next costume script will switch between the 2, and this will animate the walking motion. Isn't that beautiful? Wonderful? Fantastic. We have written our first program. Now we can save our work. Let's click on the file and then save your computer. Let's give it a name, my first computer program, and click to save. Now, what have we done now? We gave the computer instructions and the computer processed it and gave an output. Remember in ICT we learned about input, processing, and output. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye bye.